Hello baby gangsters, this is Calvin, also known as Homer, and this is the community video for my patrons for May, would you believe? And basically what happens is I do a Q&A and I also ask patrons some questions, and this is the response that we got. The first is the Q&A, and the first question is from Vivia, and they say, seeing as Deltarune Chapter 3 and 4 will come out next month, what aspects of the game are you most looking forward to, and what are your expectations about these next chapters? I'm personally very excited about how creative Toby and his team might get with new battle mechanics, particularly in the secret boss fights. I'm hoping for an increase in difficulty as a challenge. Yeah, the secret boss fights can be very difficult, and my thing always when I was doing a playthrough of them is that I know I could beat these bosses, but it was always just a timing issue, how long it was taking or whatever. Cause and I think so many times people are like, no, you got close, and it's and then you stopped it, which always made me feel very weird. But it happens. It happens. It's something that just happens. For me personally, what I'm looking forward to, and what my expectations are, I think that one thing that Undertale and Deltarune gets they're so good at is just making the soul of their game. Toby Fox makes the soul of the game near perfect all the time. And when I say soul of the game, I mean the art style, the music, you know what I mean? Those type of aspects in the background. Because again, the conversations are incredible, the story is incredible, so emotional. But to look at these games is so unique and interesting. The designs are so interesting to look at as well. The music is so good. There's so many aspects of these games that are just so right, and because he does them so, and the team that works on Undertale and Deltarune has done them so right for so long at this stage. I know it hasn't been for so long, but you know what I mean? Since Undertale and in Chapter 1 and 2 of Deltarune, they've done it right to 3 times in a row, that I feel it gets to the point that people don't even notice some aspects of how amazing it is. And I'm not saying that I noticed them or I'm great, I can notice them. I mean in general, not the Undertale and Deltarune fans. I think from the outside, people can look at this game and kind of go oh, it's just a 2D game, but they don't realize how special these games are. When you play through this game, and again, Deltarune and Undertale fans know what I'm talking about. When you play through these games and you look at all the visuals, you see the different character designs, the dialogue, the music, the story. This game these games have so much soul in them, and that's what I'm expecting for Chapter 3 and 4. Is just this pretty beautiful aspect of I don't know what other way to describe it than this game, these games have so much soul, and I'm expecting Chapter 3 and 4 to have just as much, or if not more, soul. You know what I mean? It feels so good to play these games. It really does. On a more practical level, if I'm looking for anything in particular, I think that I would love mini games and stuff like that. I always quite enjoy when games veer off the path and do some fun side mini games or whatever. Yeah, but that's something I would be looking forward to as well. Also maybe I don't know, maybe more it's hard to say because again, I feel I don't think about this as much as I should. You know what I mean? Because yes, I would like the game, because it sounds what my answer is just I would just more of the same. Which I think a lot of us are like that, but yeah, I don't know. Just I want the game to continue just to be the amazing, you know what I mean? And that sounds such a cop-out answer, but and I wish I thought about this more, Vivia, but that's just basically what I definitely want, the soul of the game to be intact is what I would like. Thank you for the question, Vivia. In terms of challenging boss fights though, Vivia, I already thought the secret boss fights were very difficult, so you're better than me that you you were able to hope for even more difficulty, honestly. Leon asks, what are some franchises you haven't checked out but are interested in, not only games but comic books, movies, etc.? In terms of franchises I haven't really gone into, I always think of RPGs like Phantasy Star. I've always wanted to get in and dip my toes into that franchise, but I haven't really gotten a chance to. I wanted to get deeper into Valkyria Chronicles and Fire Emblem. That's something I've always wanted to get into, but I've been saving some Fire Emblem stuff for the channel and things like that as well. In terms of movies, I don't really watch movies that often, but in terms of anime, maybe I've really wanted to get into Serial Experiments Lane, even though I know that's one singular thing, not a franchise. But in terms of franchised anime, I feel there's so many anime I look at, I'm oh, I'd love to get into that at some point, but never get around to actually getting into it. And it's one of those things when you do dip your toes into it, you're this is amazing. Frieren, for example, it's oh my god, this is incredible. I can't believe I got into this. I should have gotten this sooner. Fruit Baskets is an example of one thing that I've wanted to always get into. More slice of life stuff like that I've always wanted to get into. But yeah, if I had to give an answer, it would be stuff like Phantasy Star, old RPGs, any manga really, because I want to expand my horizons a little bit, because right now on the shelf I have Tokyo Ghoul, Master Keaton, I have 20th Century Boys, the Persona manga, both 5, 4, and 3. And I have some Soul Eater as well. So I definitely have wanted to get into more of that stuff as well. Really, like, I'm probably the worst person to ask because, like, I am someone who, like, is very content with the stuff I have. And then when I find something new, maybe on the channel or something, I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. I randomly get into something, you know, it's always really, really cool, like, when that happens. Old survival horror games, like the Fear Effect games as well, is something else I would like to get into also. Yeah, like, stuff like that. SRFG says, what quality of life updates would you like to see in Genshin? Or what Dream Edition would you like to see in the future? It's so funny because they added 2 things that are absolutely incredible for Genshin. And that is stuff that I've wanted since I started playing, which was the ability to go back and look at past dialogue, and the ability to find things on the map that you were looking for flowers. That has changed the way I played the game. It literally, like, I'm not even joking, the flower update and the dialogue update has literally made it so that I have gone from thinking Genshin is like, oh, this is like a 9.5 out of 10 to being like, no, it's a 10. You know what I mean? It's a 10. Maybe 9.9 because there's still one thing I always like think about that I want to update. And I'll tell you that, and you probably know what the answer is. World Quest conversational dialogue as you're walking through the world. Either you voice this in some way, just that dialogue, or you or they should have it be that you can look back and read over the whole thing while they're talking. It's my biggest pet peeve in Genshin. It's something that, like, I got actually kind of frustrated with. Like, one of the rare times I get, like, frustrated when I was playing Genshin. I played the World Quest recently. I think you could even tell in the video I was like, man, like, the dialogue's going too fast. It goes too fast, and then, like, you can look back with the functions of, like, the PlayStation and stuff like that, but, like, I just like a button where I could look back on the dialogue, or if the dialogue went by a little bit slower. Because it does feel kind of, like, out of place sometimes, and it turns, like, something that's already incredible, which is these world quests, into something where I'm like, man, I want to read this. I actually, it's like, I'm interested in this. Please, Genshin, I want to read this. But I don't end up getting to read it. So yeah, something to do with that dialogue. Change that, and the game's a 10 out of 10 for me. Because right now it's like 9.9, right? The only reason I can't give it, like, the full 10 is literally just because of that. That's it. Because everything else I love. Everything else, the story, the music, the world, the characters, everything is absolutely, like, perfect to me. Like, I am so content and happy with everything Genshin gives me. But that one aspect, if they change that, they would be like, they'd have my allegiance for them. And they already do have my allegiance, but, like, again, I want to make it clear, it doesn't break the game. That's why I'm only saying, like, it's point of a point, right? It's not even one full point. It's a point of a point of a point of a point. It's 1/10 of a point. But, like, it's something I would desperately want them to change. Like, desperately. And it's every single time I do a work quest, they do that dialogue. And it's gone to the point where I have given up on reading it. I've given up on reading it, and sometimes I try to just summarize it in my head. But, like, it's just like, I guess I'll look back on it later if I can, you know, if I record it back and look at the edited audio and stuff like this. But it's not like, yeah, that's one thing I would like to change. Just one little thing. Everything else they kind of listen to, like with the beautiful way they done the updates in terms of obtaining items, like flowers, and looking back in dialogue. Like, that's such, like, a great addition. Zevi asks, in light of upcoming patch in Genshin, here's a question. How would you say your cooking skills are? Is there signatures that you can make, or a dish you really want to make in the future? Keep up the awesome work, Roman. Thank you so much, Zevi. That's very kind to say. I know everyone says this. I can make a really good carbonara. Is that, you know, from scratch? Like, I like a good carbonara. Yeah, people like the carbonara as well. I don't know, like, in terms of, like, other self-made stuff, like, a lot of pasta dishes, but, like, the one I make, like, you know, because other stuff, like, I use, like, packeted stuff and stuff, which is nothing wrong with that, by the way. Like, there's nothing wrong with that, but, like, yeah, I would say, like, carbonara is, like, the one dish I'm able to make. In terms of cooking in general, I cook all my meals. I do. Like, so obviously some stuff is, like, from, like, which is not, again, I want to make clear, there's nothing wrong with that, and I'm not trying to be like, I'm kind of letting myself down here. Like, I use a lot of ingredients, you know, but, like, I also use stuff from packets. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with that. Cooking is a whole thing. But yeah, carbonara is what I'm really good at. Even though, like, I know a lot of people say that probably, but that's one thing I'm really able to make. I really like cooking, though. I like the idea of, like, oh, I've made this and now, like, I get to eat it. Even if it's like the cooking time can be longer than the eating time, I still love that aspect as well, because, you know, you've taken time to make the stuff as well. But yeah, that's what I say I'm pretty good at. Other than that, like, I'm good at making sandwiches. I can make a mean egg mayonnaise sandwich, I'm telling you that much. I definitely can. Thank you, Zevi. My cooking skills, I would say, if you're out to rate them for out of 10, I would say they're about a 6, right? They're a 6. They're pretty okay. But they're not, maybe not even a 6, because, like, maybe like a 5? Because, like, it's like, okay, they're okay. You know what I mean? I can make a tasty food. But I'm not really, like, I don't go into the realm of being, like, fantastic. Hypernova says, well, a very basic question, what's your favorite foods? My favorite foods of all time is some pasta. I love like right now, one thing I love doing is, it's like my favorite dish that I have like every week. Again, I just like sun-dried tomato pasta with like cherry tomatoes is like my favorite dish, I think, as well. I love having like enchiladas. I love too. Enchiladas are great. Fajitas are also awesome too. I adore them. Tacos are great as also. But like I think my favorite dish overall was always going to be like pasta. I've loved pasta since I was like a kid, and like pasta in all forms. Like I remember like even there was jokes about that as well, where like as a kid, where people were like, Calvin will eat anything that's like red or orange. You know what I mean? When really it was just like I like pasta. I like pasta a lot, and it's like even like the spaghetti hoops as a kid, I'd be like devouring. I know it's not like pasta, but you know what I mean? Like anything to do with pasta, I would be like spaghetti, you know, penne, anything. I'd be like all over it. So yeah, pasta would probably be my favorite dish of any kind, but mostly like sun-dried tomato sauce with cherry tomatoes and pasta is like my favorite thing. Do you like, Solvix asks, do you like superheroes? I'm actually into superheroes comics like Marvel and DC and everything, but I don't think it really comes up much on your channel. I watched all of the Avengers movies pre-Thanos, or like just the Thanos era, in 1 week one time. I think it was 2 weeks actually, when I think I got COVID 1 week, and I was like, this is it's time. You know, it's time. This is the time to do it. And I just watched all the Marvel movies, and I actually quite enjoyed them. And I like still like have very passionate opinions about those movies and like how much I actually like them. So that's also interesting for me to still have those like takes. Now, even though I like wouldn't be into that much superhero stuff, I like Batman. Batman to me is like my favorite superhero. Batman, I think Batman's my favorite superhero of all time. Spider-Man has the best villains, I think, of all time for me. And because maybe I like the cartoony villains of Spider-Man more than I do like, and not that they're always cartoony, but like Green Goblin and the Sandman always like was very unique and, you know, like cartoonish in a way. That, again, it's not a bad thing to break cartoony, by the way, because I know these characters can be very serious as well. But I just mean in terms of like their stuff that they do. It was always like, oh, that's such a fun villain. That's such a fun villain. And the Spider-Man cartoon as a kid was really good as well. The Batman Arkham games are absolutely incredible. I played all of them. I played Batman Arkham Asylum recently again, and it was it was still one of the best games ever created. And so like Batman is probably like the superhero I'm most interested in. In terms of like superheroes in general, though, I feel like I'm not into like I like Spider-Man and Batman, right? The other superhero, I don't really find, like, in terms of my favorite Marvel superhero in those movies, like, it turned out to be Captain America in the end, just because, like, I loved how he, like, chose his own rogue path, and he became one of the most interesting characters, you know, like a government lapdog who eventually, like, you know, became a person that was just for the people. I love that story. But yeah, like, I'm not that into superheroes, but if you put Batman or Spider-Man in front of me, or, like, rogue Captain America, I'm, like, all for it. I really am. Yeah, I hope that answers your question. But yeah, it's usually what I'm into is like, you know, maybe like, I don't want to say cooler, but like the darker side, like the rogue, like I said, rogue Captain America, Batman, and in Spider-Man, I just love his design and I love the villains a lot. Yeah. Malcolm O'Day asks, when is Half-Life 3 coming out? Jokes aside, what games do you think would break the internet or have the most impact if they finally got announced? I don't think people are ready, and this might be a silly answer. I don't think people are ready for the Persona 6 announcement. This is going to be huge for 2 reasons. It's going to cause so many arguments on the internet that are not needed and no one needs to argue about. It's going to make people go nuts. It's going to be one of the most reacted to trailers in history. It's going to be one of the most, like, not in history. I don't want to say that. Like, because GTA 6 is, like, you know, massive, you know what I mean? But I mean, like, in terms of, like, RPGs, it's going to be one of the biggest RPG, like, reaction sprees you're going to see of videos. I'm going to do one too, like, of course. I always do like the first trailers, and then like after that I try to like leave it after that, because I remember even Persona 5 I legitimately like saw like a small reveal trailer. I was like, oh, I'm gonna get that, and then like I didn't even know who the characters were when I got the game. It was awesome. It was so much fun, and I've talked about before how like I played Persona 5 and met the characters as I was going through the story. That's how I like to do it. But the Persona 6 announcement is going to be like huge. It's going to be massive. And it's not going to, I don't know if break the internet's a term for it, but like I know in my circles, it's going to be inescapable. It's going to cause arguments. There's going to be people that hate it no matter what. There's going to be people that love it no matter what. There's going to be people that are just so excited. There's going to be streamers who are going crazy about it. It's going to be such an interesting time, and I think it'll be such a fun time. I think also as well, when Wind Waker Remaster gets finally announced, it's going to be huge as well. I think if a Danganronpa 4, again, look at this, me talk about all my personal favorites. In terms of like being like looking at like a game that would just be massive to be announced, I'm not sure. I think like a Bully 2 or a GTA San Andreas 2 or something like that would be huge. But it's hard for me to think because like a lot of like Half-Life 3 would be huge as well. It's hard to think of itself. I think of when we find it. Oh, you know what? Actually, an Elder Scrolls trailer for Elder Scrolls 6, a real trailer. I think that would be huge because it already got announced, but like a trailer for that would be huge. It's hard to think of like game franchise that would blow up and go crazy, right? It's hard to think. Yeah, but that's my answer. That's my answer. That's what I think anyway. And maybe it's like too personal I'm going, but like I think that would break my circle of the internet at the very least. Thank you for the questions, guys. I also asked, what is your favorite character design? And the first answer I got was from Leanne. And they stare at your profile picture and Shadow in the profile picture. To nobody's surprise, one of my favorite designs is Shadow the Hedgehog. Narratively, Shadow's quill shape being copied of Supersonic's fit with all what he tells Sonic in the fight against BioLizard, that the Sonic might be the true ultimate life form. Very cool. Going further with this, it's implied that when Gerald Robotnik went to Angel Island and saw the Master Emerald, Master Emerald Altar, which he used for his inspiration in the Ark, he also saw the prophecy that shows Supersonic fighting Eggman that we also see in S3K and based off Shadow's design off it. Design-wise, the combinations of red, black, and white, and gold are always a clean design choices. It makes Shadow distinct from Sonic while still being recognizably from the same species. The inhibitor rings adding to the gold touch brings it all together. It's a simple design that has more details than you would think, especially in the shoes, and everything is relevant to who he is narratively. I think it's actually a very good answer you gave here. The Sonic the Hedgehog design is already just like iconic. Like the colors they have in those designs are freaking, oh god, I swore, are freaking incredible. I don't monetize this video anyway. It's incredible. But what's actually like really great about Shadow is like all the stuff you said as well. But like what I love about Shadow is like you know, as you said, the color coding. The color coding is so fantastic. The red and the black alone is such a great touch. And I remember like in art class, we were told at the time not to do a lot of red and blacks because it's not what would have gotten us great grades. But like I always thought that was just like a cool character design, you know, and a cool color to have as well. Like it always looks good in a shirt as well. But yeah, Shadow the Hedgehog, like instantly, like when you see him, he has this like striking like difference to Sonic, and that's what makes him so cool. And then like, as you were saying, like the shoes, like right, the rocket shoes and the flame shoes, whatever they're called. Like it's one of those little details where you're like, oh my god, he has those. Oh, he's like creating the lab and stuff. I guess it's actually so interesting to like have that contrast from Sonic. And I think he stands on his own. It's very, as you said, simplistic design works really well, but I think he works so well in a contrast to the bright blue colors of Sonic. Because color coding is so important in Sonic. Sonic blue, you know, Tails yellow, Knuckles red, the Shadow black, like they're like specific colors. I can't look at these colors in anything but what they are for these guys. Like Sonic blue is its own color now. It could be its own color. Thank you for the answer, Leanne. Victoria says, some of my favorites are in HSR, which is Honkai Star Rail, and you haven't met yet, so I won't say who they are yet. In Genshin, Layla, fantastic. I'll hate them in Kavya, also fantastic, all faves. They're just very cohesive and they aren't over-designed. In anime, Sessho Hamaru from Inuyasha? I think I've heard of that anime. I'm a sucker for white-haired characters. He has a really recognizable silhouette and isn't too busy. And also always thought that Overhaul from My Hero Academia has a great design as well. Layla's design is so like great. It's so great. And here, I'll hate them on Kavi. You know I love those designs, but I feel like we don't get to talk about Layla as much as we do get to talk about the design of the absolutely fantastic Layla. And it is like one of those things where like I love Genshin and Hoyo games in general that I've played, only 2 Hoyo games, but they're really good at like designing character designs that are like tailored for the personalities as well. And Layla's dreamy design is like seen throughout like her like wavy like almost like, you know, wistful hair that's like going up and like very gently turning and curling. Her eyes look so sleepy. The blue colors are so pretty as well, and like they signify kind of like the night sky. Sometimes the very dark blue, the kind of dreamy stars. Like, it really is like a really, really pretty design, and I absolutely think it's fantastic. And along with like Kaveh and Alhaitham as well. I'm sorry I'm only talking about like what I know, but I love hearing your answer on the other animes too, and I'll definitely check them out. But Kaveh and Alhaitham, like, I feel like are very different, but like they have like a very, especially Kaveh for me, like, to me, like that is such like a tailored design, right? It's like so much like thought is put into like the curves, the edges, the colors, everything. And like, not that there's not thought put into Alhaitham's like, you know, tight shirt as well. Like, all of that is like all determined, and that's what Genshin and Hoyo do, and Hoyo in general do really well, which is like, let's tailor our characters' personalities to their outfits as well. It's really, really cool. What's your damage answers? One of my favorite character designs has to be Philosophite from Hoseki no Kuni, Land of the Illustrious. They go through many iterations throughout the series, but all of them are amazing. Without spoiling, one of my favorite has to be Foes' second design. They basically seem a bit more mature, traumatized, and each of their evolutions just gets better and better. And as you read the series, design-wise, story-wise, they are in such pain. Their second designs include a lot of spoiler elements, so I just encourage you to seek out the series if you're interested in a deep, complex thing about humanity, feelings, and meaning. The manga is fantastic, but also in the anime adaptation, the studio Orange Studio that animates it, Beastars, made them all 3D, and with that color could render each gem. Each character in the series is a type of gem. This was like a year before Steven Universe came out, by the way. The hair so beautifully. You should take a look at the anime designs. Yes, they're all based on real gemstones and minerals, by the way, but most of the characters have no gender as well as being kind of androgynous. Very cool. They're minerals. Anyway, Foes has a limited but wonderful color palette in the beginning with the aquamarine-like mineral hair. Sounds pretty. And their eyes sparkle a lot in the beginning. Their posture is also much more relaxed and carefree, like a young adult. Again, it's hard to explain their amazing character designs without spoilers, but another one of my favorites is Lumine from Genshin. Oh my god. Before we move on to Lumine from Genshin, I just want to say, like, I've never heard of this. I've never heard of this from Hoseki no Kuni. I have to look all these up afterwards. I definitely will. But it's really, really interesting the way you've described this. I definitely want to check these out. Yeah. Especially like the complex feelings and like the deep emotions, like that stuff to me, like you know, like always like is something that like I get very, very like attached to as well. While it can hurt sometimes, right, to have those type of themes in it, it is like really, really cool at the same time, because like I think it sticks with you for a while, right? Yeah, for sure. But yeah, in terms of Lumine, where we get her, sorry. And one of my favorites is Lumine from Genshin, who saw this coming. Her outfit really fits the Mon type of traveler, as well as the flowers in her hair, being a memento of the Sea of Flowers, and being so choppy makes me think she cut it herself or something. That's such a cool idea in your like to come up with like that, because they travel so much they don't really care about how they look, I suppose. The colors are also very neutral and light, true, contrast to her twin, Aether, who wears darker colors, accented gold and white and at some points. I love the twins' design so much. Sorry for the yap. Don't worry, this is literally this is the community post. You guys are supposed to yap. This is yap time. Yeah, like the anime design stuff is so interesting to me. I'm gonna be like putting up a picture for everyone as well. But like in terms of like Lumine, like I picked Aether at the start, and it's so interesting to me. Like originally I was like, man, like I think Aether is like the better design for me. But then, like, I think maybe it's because we use Aether so much. Like, I think of them very highly, like, almost equally as well now. And I think with, like, I think it's also very, very cool as well, the idea that, like, Lumine thinks about her hair quite a bit. So she's, like, because for combat and stuff like that, so she cuts it, right? And also you could say that same for Aether as well. He ties up his hair for combat because, again, his hair is beautiful when it's down. But he ties it up because, again, he's always in combat. He's always fighting. And I like to think as well that, like, you know, maybe Paimon helps with that also. Because maybe his sister helped him with that before. But I love that idea that she cuts her hair. That's such a cool idea. And yes, she does have very neutral colors. But the dress is so pretty, isn't it? The dress is so pretty. It also, like, to me, like, on both sides, if she's your hero, and if she's also the other side of where you're searching for her as well. Originally, remember, there's a thought, like, oh, is she a villain or not? It still had such a cool aesthetic as well, like the pure, like, kind of like white-ish, the kind of brighter, kind of like, or neutral, I guess, white colors as well. It really did feel like it was a contrast from her brother as well, which it is. It definitely is a contrast from her brother. But Lumine's design is actually very, very, very good. And the more I've, like, seen of her, the more I've appreciated it. I think it's good that they didn't just dress the two main characters up in the same way, right? I think that they could have done that to kind of, like, appease this idea of, like, oh, it doesn't matter who you choose, right? When in reality, it's like, no, they both look different. Yes, they have the same hair color, but they're brother and sister. They have different personalities. They're gonna have different feelings depending on what you choose, right? Obviously, I can't imagine now playing as Lumine just because just the same way Lumine players probably can't imagine playing as Aether. You know what I mean? It's just the way things go. It's like it's just how things go. But I love the idea of like the contrasting nature between them. Lumine to me now went from being a character design, I was like, I'm not too sold on it, to every time I see it, I'm like, man, like the dress gets prettier. Like I love, again, like as you say, the contrast between the Aether. I think originally when I was like picking designs, obviously I preferred the Aether design when I picked it originally, and I still like love Aether's design so much. But I think it's a grown appreciation of Lumine's design as well as time has gone on. Especially, you know, I think like designs can be cool, but story adds a lot to design as well that people don't even realize. For me, like for me, I get into the idea of a design, yes, a lot, just based on the design in general. But then like once I get to know a character, I actually like get into like the designs even more. You know what I mean? And I love the idea of the canon of like that she cuts her hair herself. That's such a cool idea. What's her damage? But yeah, as we've seen her more, I've grown to appreciate her more for sure, and the design more, because we get to see her like in motion a lot more, right? Especially with those special sometimes Dane quests as well. Very cool picks here. Hex says, this is actually a tough question. I'd probably just say Sonic, fantastic design. It's just such a simple yet striking design. Now I think about it, might be actually like Blaze design more. I'll just call it a tie. That's fine. Like anyone who picks the Sonic designs, there's no like doubts in my mind about like, you know, them being fantastic. Sonic in general is so iconic, but all the Sonic designs are so iconic to me now. Because even like when I haven't played those games, like I said, you know Sonic Blue, you know Tails Yellow, you know Knuckles Red, and in terms of Sonic, like it's such a like a it's one of those designs that instantly is like, oh, that's Sonic, you know, even in silhouette form, not just the color, even in silhouette form, we're like, that's Sonic. Now it could be Shadow like in silhouette form, but you know what I mean. Like when you see like a Sonic trailer, you definitely think it's like you know it's Sonic from the second the trailer starts up. Can I say as well, when the Sonic movie was first announced and they had that really bad design first, I remember I was one of the people that was like, oh man, like I don't think it's that bad. Not because of like I think it's because I wasn't a Sonic fan, so I was just like, oh, this isn't like, it's like, yeah, it's like kind of weird, but like I don't know, like is it that bad? And then you see them redesign Sonic and you're like, oh yes, it was. And again, maybe just because like I wasn't as into like Sonic, or like wasn't into Sonic at all, I was just like, is it that bad, guys? Why does everyone go like hate this design? And then you see the new one, you're like, oh, that's why they changed it, because the new design is perfect. It's like a really perfect design. But yeah, Sonic Adventure, like it's so great, like seeing Sonic, because like again his colors are bright. Can I say, as like a YouTuber, having such a brightly colored character for like thumbnails as well is so fantastic. Oh my god, he looks great in every thumbnail. He really does. I appreciate him so much. Thank you, Sonic, for looking good in a thumbnail. Thank you so much. Thank you for this answer, Heck. Malcolm Day says, read after what's your damage comment. I will not. No, I did. Gonna have the second what's your damage here. False Life from Hoseki no Kuni is one of my most interesting and dynamic character designs I've ever seen. Not just because of how cool it is, but because of how it reflects not just the character, but the story itself. In a way, how they look in current is a current reflection of the story as a main character. At first, they look cute and innocent, and we're presented with a very simple, almost utopic world, but with the passage of time, with the appearance of biblically accurate horrors, their appearance changes to reflect this. Sometimes they lose parts of their bodies, using parts of dead comrades or strange materials, and falsifying the world, gaining attributes from them in the process. There's slight spoilers, so I don't know if I should read this part. Maybe, I don't know. I guess so, because I might be checking it out. The story spans a millennia, and so we see Faust change a lot, to the point where they are unrecognizable from where they start. Maybe I shouldn't read this part. Maybe, I don't know. Because if I find, okay, on a very interesting aspect the author uses that I've never seen before, is even though Faust doesn't have a gender, they are depicted as female, male, and androgynous coded at different parts of the story, reflecting their changing perspectives and personality, as well as their changing stances on who the good guys really are. However, it would experience so many horrors, Faust slowly loses what humanity they had in the first place, to the point that they don't even resemble humanoid anymore. It's an incredible story, one whose focus is deconstruction of what it means to be human, from the bone to the flesh to the soul. It's one of the best manga out there, and I definitely recommend it. I guess I'll look up all the design. I'll look up Phospholite, and then we'll also look up right now actually Sesshomaru. Let's look up both of these now, okay? So the first one we're looking up is Sesshomaru, right? And for my answer as well, Malcolm, I hope it doesn't sound so bad. I second my what I said about the cool aspects of a story like this and how deep it can get, and it is very interesting as well. But obviously I don't know the design, so I'm gonna look them up now as well. Okay, Sesshomaru is an absolutely S tier design. Holy hell! Holy freaking hell! That's crazy. That is a pretty design. It's gorgeous. Like, whoever designed it deserves a freaking raise. And then we have what, Phospholite? Interesting. So Phospholite. Wait. So she actually, the gem hairstyle, by the way, with the freaking suit. That is pretty sick. This image I got here is actually that hair is gorgeous. That is an incredible design as well. Yeah. But those are really, really pretty designs also as well. Yeah, Malcolm, honestly, I do love the idea of a story that has those deeper emotions and scenes in them. It always makes me feel like, we have we're able to make a deeper connection with a story because the story is actually treating us in a way that's very respectful. And it's the same way I feel about Genshin, Honkai, the same way I feel about stuff the anime and manga Monster. I feel this way even about we're playing Last Defense Academy right now. I love the idea of a story that respects you enough to have these deeper themes in them. And you don't always have to have these really crazy deep themes in every single story that you make. You don't have to, right? Sometimes a story can just be fun. Sometimes it can just be funny. Sometimes it can just be cool. Sometimes it's just awesome. Sometimes it's just this, that's just that. But I feel the majority of games we play on the channel kind of relate to the idea of being able to be emotionally connected to a story. And that's what I love more than anything, is being able to connect with the story, the characters, and also feel sometimes it can feel bad, but it also you know what I mean? You get, when you ever get emotionally drained by a story, right? Because it's so incredible or because it's so meaningful. And then a week later, you're man, that was actually a great feeling. Even though it felt bad at the time, you're man, I felt that connection. It's the same way when I cry about a game on the channel. Let's take One Shot this year, or any game I've cried about on the channel, Little Misfortune. It's man, I am devastated, right? And then a week later, you're holy, or no, for me it was a day later with those games. I was man, I'm glad I had that connection. Yes, it was sad and it was hard to go through, but holy crap, you're glad you get these connections to these games and these stories. Thank you so much for sending us in, guys. This was really, really interesting to see as well. Thank you so much for the answers, and thank you so much for asking me questions as well. Basically, if you want to do this Q&A, you can join at the €3 tier for the Q&A, and the community video where I ask you questions is just a perk for a higher tier as well. But I want to say thank you so much to all my patrons, and thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you so much to Tyfire2, Jamie Bull, Johnny the Banana, The Ghost Inazuma, Felicitous Felix, Yule, Radish Anusta, Death Trap, Lynx Markey, Assassin, Shakugan, True Peanut Butter, Peter Shelson, Heck, SRVG, Leon, High Casparian, and Jared Beanham, and at the highest tier of my YouTube, Bosco. I'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.